Welcome back, everyone. This is Cody Hart for Government Accountability. It is October 7th, Thursday, and it's been almost a week since I was able to share the good news that came out of the Thurston County Superior Court in the lawsuit against Governor Jay Inslee, Attorney General Bob Ferguson, and the Washington Swamp. And so I wanted to just provide an update on a lot of things that have been going on and some things that I wanted to make sure people thought about and got ready for, and the reality of how this impeachment process is going to be moving forward and what we should prepare for as a public. So first, I'll point everyone to my website, codyhart.org, otherwise Cody Hart for Government Accountability. And on my blog, you will find I put out a few articles. The first, last week, I have the article that has the court documents if people want to take a look at them for the legal victory against Inslee. That describes my feedback on that. And more recently, this beginning of this week, I prepared an update to the public, and I want to just make sure everyone understood this, that as I mentioned, I have gone ahead and contacted and been communicating with members of the Washington State Legislature to use the Superior Court, Thurston County Court findings as evidence in a impeachment against the governor and potentially attorney general. I want everyone to understand that is moving forward. That has happened. And I have some positive feedback confirming our hopes that it looks like this process will move forward. But let's realistically talk about the legislature and what we've seen from them. We have a legislature that has shown very little courage. They have not shown their conviction to the public, and they've been playing politics, and it's just full of the swamp. But as an optimist and as someone who's talked to some of these legislators in private, I think the tide is changing. I think that there has become so much outrage that they are aware they are going to be no longer allowed to stay in their positions, and they're watching their state be destroyed. And so I think a few of them, and that's all it really takes, are going to show the leadership that we want and get this impeachment process underway. I want to also point out that some people have shared with me that they're not optimistic about the outcome of the impeachment. I disagree with that. I will point out that it cannot allow us to stop pursuing it. Our legislators, I've had some legislators even in discussions with me say they don't have the votes. The Democrats control too much right now. And I said to them, if you don't do your job and don't bring impeachment articles for when they are obviously warranted, you are letting them win by default. You're not fighting at all. The public needs to know what this is about. You need to show you represent them and go from there. I'm optimistic that the outcome will be better than they are hoping. But regardless, we win as a state by showing and being transparent about what our corrupt government officials are doing. So I would encourage people to read the article. And again, I point out something in there, and it's out of concern for where things are headed in my state, that the criminality of what is happening is so clear that if no action is taken, the public will lose even more faith in the system, raising the risk of revolt. So understand, this was statements I made to a member of the legislature about the need to move forward with impeachment and my concern to where things are headed in this state. If the elected officials and the government officials don't do something soon, they are going to lose control of the subdued part of society who has been watching and waiting for them to do the right thing. So let's please pray they do that before that happens. Next, I'll go, and my most recent article is just to share this. The state and the entire West Coast is a nationally syndicated show. Lars Larson, who's had me on before, gave me the great opportunity to share my feedback on what I have been able to share on the lawsuit, the outcome of it, and what my group, Cody Hart for Government Accountability, has been finding out over the last several years, looking into how the governor and attorney general have been running our infrastructure system and the hundreds of millions of dollars, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say billions of dollars of fraud that they've been committing upon our state. And beyond that, on the federal government. Much of this money is federal tax funds for infrastructure projects. They've been committing these frauds, and that cannot be understated, the significance of that, which I will be sharing with people, how that is going to help put a few more nails in the coffin of Mr. Inslee's term and career, and hopefully the end of his freedom and the future imprisonment of him for what he has done. So those are both available updates on my blog. So moving on from impeachment, I wanted to talk about the emergency powers of the governors used in the past, our legislature's lack of a spine and inability to control him, and how it's going to tie into the impeachment process, and just kind of share some thoughts and things I'd like people to look at and keep their eye out for. And it ties into the economy as well. And that is how Inslee is going to react now that he is feeling his back against the wall. Many are not aware that Inslee has been involved as a lawyer over the years. He's very aware the impeachment is imminent. He understands the legal jeopardy he's in with the Thurston County findings. And I have no doubt he's strategizing the best he can to keep that from moving forward. And given that I believe he's committed many crimes against the residents of the state, including the vaccine mandates as a civil rights violation, and his infringement upon the freedoms of our fellow neighbors in this state to just exist in peace, I think he's going to escalate. And I'm very concerned for that. And I want everyone to keep their eyes out open for that. And my belief that he will use those powers to escalate and shut down everyone he can to help protect himself, at least how he perceives he can. I don't think it's an exaggeration that he would like to get rid of as many law enforcement as possible who could enforce the laws on him and those who have been working with him in their criminal enterprises. And so I think we're going to see a ramping up of that. We're already shorthanded. We have a lot of bad people out there that are now coming out and causing harm to our neighbors and our communities. And it should be obvious to everyone that those in government corruption don't want good cops around. They want good cops gone. They want people who aren't willing to challenge them and stand up against them to remain. And I think that's a strategy he's going to increase more and more over the coming weeks and months. And I think that's important for everyone to recognize as he moves forward, why he's doing some of the things he's doing and why his colleagues in corrupt cities are doing the same thing to protect each other and protect their rule over us, that they shouldn't be there. They are supposed to be serving us and leading us and not ruling over us. And so they are going to do like many tyrants in the past have done and hold on to that power as long as they can. And so I think that we're seeing that. And as people have grown frustrated and tired and started to look closer and closer at what's been going on with the mandates over the last year, the restrictions, they're realizing how tyrannical the government in charge of us right now really is. And they will, and Inslee will, and these corrupt leaders will continue to do this to us to help to push us down and keep us from rising up against them. So those emergency powers, keep your eyes open for what they do and understand the motives, I think, behind most of them. The economy, I really am concerned. For those who have not been paying attention, they have done at a federal level under Mr. Biden. He and his administration have done everything they can to damage the U.S. economy from its greatest point last year when the actual President Trump was in office to now to basically be on life support. And it is very close, a very catastrophic event in our markets. And we are going to see some really hard times ahead. And I think they're going to be worse than they need to be because people like Inslee at a state level are can continue to do what they can to damage the economy. in hopes of making people more dependent upon him. Understand, he's been using this tactic for a while. He has been wanting entrepreneurs and business leaders to leave the state, people who could challenge him. And he wants people who are more dependent upon government to stay. And that's a strategy he is obviously, and everyone will agree, he's obviously been doing that. We all know it. And our economy is showing it now. He's been driving entrepreneurs out and business owners out because those are the kind of leaders who will take down governments like his. And I feel that category, as a business owner, entrepreneur, I understand the system a lot better than people who are just trying to survive and get through their lives. And so he is going to continue that economic attack on us. And all of this ties into what's happening very soon, and that's the elections. And those who've been following me know that I have exposed massive election fraud in our state. It's not partisan, it's fraud. It's corruption by corrupt people at every level. And I do have this suspicion that they can only cheat so much. And we have so many people looking at them now that much of what is going on leading up to this, the impeachment leading up to the misuse and abuse of his emergency powers, followed by the destruction in any way he can of the economy, is to help him in the election. And that will be ramping up in October. It's going to be a very horrifying month, in my opinion, the rest of this month, and especially into the very first part of November. So I think we're all going to see it. I think it's going to be obvious to everybody that this is not just speculation. This is their strategy. This is what they started to do before the last election. They were successful in seizing power illegitimately, and he's going to keep doing this. And they're going to ramp it up because now we are coming after them. People like me who have caught him in his corruption, people who are coordinating with federal investigators, coordinating at every level they can to hold him accountable, are coming for him. And he is going to fight back. Just like an animal, he is going to attack as we come at him. And as a criminal, he's going to do whatever he can to keep him go to jail. So I hope everyone gets ready for that. It is going to be a little bit scary, I think, when we really see how bad he's willing to treat us to protect himself. So that's my update for today. These are very exciting times. We're making progress, but there is a lot left ahead. There's a lot of swamp to clean out of this state and this country. And I'm hoping everyone pays attention and gets ready and lets everyone know that we're coming for them and things are changing and things are going to get better. We are going to get through this and we're going to restore America and make it great again. And I want everyone to have faith and keep praying that it happens sooner than later and that they leave before they have to be taken away. That's my biggest prayer, is that it does not resort to that. So thank you again, everyone, and keep your eyes and ears out, and thank you for your support.